Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, when it comes to horrific and absolutely horrific images in movies, growing up, werewolves, lycanthropy, lycanthrope, lichen, have always been terrifying, steeped in lore. Now, in modern day tellings, they become big dogs or gigantic wolves, but there's nothing terrifying about that. Hello, ladies and jelly spoons. Welcome to 24K Movies, TV shows, video game reviews. It is the month of Halloween, Oh Hallows Eve, Beltane, that scary Sabbath. And we are talking here in the Game Dojo today about werewolf movies. The best of the best, the cream of the crop, and some of them, I will confess, scared the living shit out of me as a child. Now, first up on my list, if you could not tell from that imagery, is The Howling. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the stuff of nightmares. I give to you our first reiteration on our list of the best, I did vampires. Oh, go check out the vampires one. I just did a vampires video, the best vampires video. Now I'm doing werewolves. Some of them have both, like Underworld. I just gave away one of the movies on my list. Anyway, I'm gonna shut the hell up. First off, ladies and gentlemen, The Howling. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. First on our list is one of the best werewolf movies ever made, in my opinion. Scared the shit out of me. Gave me actual nightmares when I was younger. No joke. The werewolf design in this movie, and I even tell you, even the ending where Dee Wallace turns into a werewolf live on television, the finished result is what scared the living shit out of me. I just want to know why people hang around while people are wolfing out. Like, once you see their eyes bugging and their face going, you need to be running. I mean, it may not help because it is a werewolf, but if you can run, at least attempt to save your life, or let him bite you so that you can change, so then you could be on their side. I don't know. Ain't too many decisions that's good, but I will say this movie scared the ever-loving hell out of me, and I'll tell you why. First up on my list, The Howling. All right, ladies and jelly spoons, The Howling is first on my list because I do have other movies that kind of terrified me. I was a teenager when I saw The Howling. Now, before that, my only werewolf movies that I had seen had been like The Wolfman, later on Monster Squad, and things like that. So the thought of a werewolf was a terrifying thought. And even watching American Werewolf in London, I just gave away another one on my list. The transformation, the pain scenes, those are absolutely amazing. What terrified me is the sheer ferocity of a creature that towers over me with Freddy Krueger gloves on both hands. Razor sharp claws. It's faster than you. It can run quicker than you. And it's something about the pointy ears, the teeth, and the nose. Yo. In the 80s, I will give that genre of the 80s werewolf movies, 80s to early 90s, you guys had something wrong with you. Like, your intent wasn't just making a werewolf movie. Your intent was to make us piss ourselves. And I'm telling you, The Howling is the shit of nightmares. So the movie starts off with this reporter trying to bust this criminal guy named Eddie, who at the time we don't know he's a werewolf. We think he's just a scumbag killer rapist guy, which he is, which is even worse by giving him the powers of a werewolf. That's just making him ultimate. Anyway, she goes into this peep show thing where he is, and they end up catching and shooting Eddie, and you're like, okay, it's over. They caught the serial killer. It's done. We're great. And then she goes to a retreat because she's having so much trauma over what happened. And the doctor tells her to go to this retreat. And she goes to this retreat down there. And shit started happening. Now, the funny part is my brain started sniffing shit out the moment they arrived. Stuff wasn't quite right when they met people. Like, you can tell when you meet people and they a little off. And then you can tell when they throwed. There was a lot of throwed people in this community. And I'm like, real quick, I'm not getting a real healthy mental vibe. Like, instead, I'm getting a creepy vibe. So you guys are the mayors of Creepy Island and Creepy Town, where they drink creepy nectar out of creepy cups on creepy plates in the middle of Creep Island. I'm feeling something weird. Turns out, hey, everybody is a werewolf, and they brought her to this town so they could wolf out for some reason, and they got her husband first. Which, look, I'm going to say, there is a lady in this movie who is one of the female werewolves. She is extremely easy on the eyes. And her husband being around him, look, no disrespect to Dee Wallace at all, but this is a hot, earthly chick, and she's throwing it at him. She's throwing it at her husband. She's throwing it at the lady's husband. And, hey, look, I ain't know she was a werewolf, but sex with her wouldn't be out of the deal. Like, it wouldn't be off the table. It wouldn't be off the table. She's a very nice, voluptuous, earthy woman, and one of the only actresses in this movie that actively just throw it at you on the table, put it on you. Now, the crazy part is as the story unfolds, we realize they got her husband. The husband doesn't want to leave. Look, at a certain point, you got to take some responsibility for yourself and just be like, look, fuck you, I'm out. I'm not feeling what's going on here. I'm just going to bounce. Like, if you want to stay, you can stay. We'll do a divorce thing and everything else. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling it. But she decided to stay for some reason, even though she having man troubles, even though everything around her is telling her, get the hell out of Dodge. She ignores that. And she fucks around and finds out that, yeah, we gonna eat your ass like taco meat tonight. It's going down. Like, it's going down tonight. We gonna eat your ass like taco meat. So during the time she realizes that she got nobody with her, she calls her friend, and her friend and her friend and her boyfriend come up to give her moral support. You just added 2 more stakes to the pile, because the instant both of them show up, we got some problems. Now, the girl, she does investigating. So she goes investigating, trying to figure out what's going on in this town. Come to find out, the body of your boy the killer, Eddie, in the beginning, is here. And she finds the body. This is one of the first scenes where I had nightmares. So she finds Eddie's body, and she finds a tape of, well, they make a tape of her getting slashed. Anyway, Eddie wolfs out in front of her in the morgue doctor setting, and it's one of the most terrorizing things I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks painful, it looks like it hurt, but he's changing in front of her, in front of the door. So at this point, I would say, yeah, there was really no place you could go, but at the same token, I'd have grabbed something and shoved it in his throat, in his neck meat, and his paws. While he was changing, you had a chance to do something and get away. Turns out, Eddie wolfs out in one of the most amazing creature effects I've ever seen in a movie. And the image I showed earlier, that was of that scene where Eddie is standing in front of her, towering with these razor sharp, long fingers, this snout, these pointy ears, these Boku eyes, and it is fucking horrifying. Forgive the language. It is horrifying. Because with one smack and one hit, he basically disembowels this chick. Like, oh, dude. Brilliant creature creator makeup. I want to say it was Rick Baker, but I don't know if it was creature creator Rick Baker who did this one. I think it is though. I think he did The Howling. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'll get back to you on that one. But anyway, so the story dwindles down back to Dee Wallace being by herself, and they decide to tell her, you know what I'm saying, this is what's going down, and they ain't gonna turn you. They just gonna kill you. They ain't gonna turn you, they just gonna kill you. Which is even more terrifying because you kind of hope you was just gonna join the club. They was gonna bite you and you joined the club and you wanted them, but they ain't got that in mind. They just want to X you out, period. So they start wolfing, and the guy whose girlfriend Eddie took out at the morgue, he stops in a bookstore and talks to one of my favorite guys in the entire world, and he's able to give them books on werewolves, and even has silver bullets that he sells to them. Now, at the time, they didn't believe what was going on, but they believed their friend. Their friend believed it, so they believe it. Do you see where I'm going with this? So many movies do the contrary opposite. You don't have to believe what's going down, but believe in your friend. Because if you know them, and you know them to be credible, and you know them to be truthful and honest, listen to what they're saying. You may not be on the level to understand the fuckdom that you're in, but you can understand that they need help. So I'm glad they believed in her enough to get these items, because that ends up playing key in the wolfing scenes in the end. Because now you just have everybody wolfed out, and around every corner there's hands and claws and teeth, and people are getting fuzzucked up. It's crazy. She ends up locking them in a barn and setting fire to it, and thinking she got away. She gets into a car. They attack the car. The guy's driving away. They're trying to escape this. A werewolf that just happens to be hooked onto the car goes through the back and bites her Dee Wallace in her shoulder, and she shoots him. And it turns out it was her husband. So her husband was trying to munch on her like lunch meat, which is even more terrifying. And then as they're driving away, he said, we got to tell people. We got to let people know something. And you're like, okay, so you're on the news, just tell people. But she has a better idea. She waits until the moment she knows she's going to change, and she does the news, and she knows people ain't going to believe her, so she shows people. So on national television, I've only seen this once in this movie. It's a brilliant scene. The fact that nobody else has done it is beyond me. She wolfs out on national television, live on camera, and the guy has to shoot her. Now, the crazy part is that some of the people watching are like, whoa, the news lady's a werewolf. And some people's like, the things they could do with special effects. Because some people don't believe. Sometimes when shit seem real, it's because it is real. And if you ain't ready and thinking about it, you gonna have zombies, werewolves, and vampires coming across your neighborhood, and you gonna be like, damn, I wish somebody would have told me. I could have had some advance notice. Sometimes you need to take some little self-reliance and understand. Sometimes shit is out there, you just ain't paying attention. That's why the whole Simon Pegg thing and Shaun of the Dead is a zombie apocalypse is literally happening all around Shaun, but he's so mundane and wrapped up in his life, he doesn't know it. Even when he wakes up in it. He walks and slips on blood, grabs a beer out of the store refrigerator. There's a bloody handprint on it. He's completely blatant. He don't see the guy at the counter. He leaves money, walks out of the store. There's people being bitten and eaten all around him. But it doesn't occur to him because he's blind to these things. And that's the problem. This movie set precedents when it comes to how a werewolf movie should be done. Now, it had tons of sequels. I ain't going to say I like the sequels at all. I don't know what the hell was with the cat, dog, jackal looking things in part 2. I don't know where the hell it went. The Howling 1 stands the testament of time as one of the scariest werewolf movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And as a movie that genuinely, for real, gave me nightmares. Can't tell you how many times I went to sleep and saw Eddie's face with them fucking ears and the teeth and the hands. Like, it's disturbing imagery. And it's crazy because I've only seen that type of horrific werewolf in 3 other movies, all on my list today. So you're gonna see them. But first up on my list, with a bang, The Howling. Gotta see it. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it once. The sex scenes is a little bit weird because they went into the animatronic CG, and it looks like when they're turning into werewolves, it looks fake. I ain't gonna lie to that. But that's the only drawback in the movie, is when they do the fire camp scene and he's having sex with her and they wolf out. It looks fake, but it's not long. It's like 2 or 3 seconds and it's done. Everything else, completely brilliant. But I think they could have done without the computer-generated, animated wolf thing when they're at the fire. Other than that, there is some nudity. It's definitely rated R, but it is a horror movie. Ladies and gentlemen, on to the next one. Ladies and jelly spoons, next on my list is definitely one of the first and the most horrific werewolf movies, and the iconic yell and scream from the werewolf from this movie has haunted nightmares for generations. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, American Werewolf in London is next up on our list. All right, ladies and jelly spoons, we got to talk about American Werewolf in London. Now, I'm split for this movie for two different things. Number one, is it horrific? Fuck yeah. Holy shit, yeah. There is viscera and violence. Look, Rick Baker and John Landis are fucking amazing at their jobs. John Landis being the person who did this one. The effects were so amazing that Michael Jackson sought out this creature creator to help him in the Thriller video when he became a werewolf. And let me tell you something. Michael Jackson never scared me. Never scared me. Even when he was a zombie dancing in the street, you know. No scared. But when Michael turned into a werewolf, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a scene where him and Ola Ray are walking down the street and he got his little Letterman jacket and the music's all nice and they walk in and he was just like, I want to tell you something. And she was just like, what, Michael? He was like, I'm not like the other guys. She was like, I know, Michael, that's why I love it. He's like, no, I mean, I'm different. And then like you see the moon and and he bends over like, oh, get away! Ah! Let me tell you something. Mike, rest his soul. God rest his soul. Michael Joseph Jackson Jr. Rest his soul. You were friggin' terrifying as that werewolf in that movie. And that just comes down to good practical effects. Great practical effects. Because you have to remember something. To dream up a werewolf is one thing. To put it in your mind is another. To put it on paper is a whole different thing. But to make that thing come to life and be genuine and scary, this is the reason why. See, in that video, Thriller, he was allowed to go so far. But in American Werewolf in London, he had a total blank canvas. And this iconic werewolf changing scene is one of the most painful looking and amazing scenes in cinema even till today in 2025. The werewolf transformation that happens in American Werewolf in London is still mind-boggling to this day. Practical effects, all practical effects. But the story starts out with two Americans backpacking through Europe because Americans love to backpack through Europe. I would never do it because of American Werewolf in London. That's being one of them. And I have been to the UK. I've been to a lot of different places in the UK. And they, oh, you want to go? No, I don't. I'm going to stick in the city. Even though the city is where it goes down in the end. Piccadilly Square and everything else. Piccadilly Circus. No. I used to camp a lot here. And American Werewolf in London, I have to get that shit out of my head before I go into the woods because my mind literally goes back to this shit. And your mind will play tricks on you and you hear things in the wood and branches snap. And then you peeing on yourself running around and you're going to smash into a tree. All right, I'll tell you a little story. I went camping with 4 friends in the middle of the night. And I don't know if you've ever been in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey, but you can't see shit. You can't see nothing. You can see absolutely nothing. If you walk out into the woods and put your hand in front of your face, you can't see that shit. The canopy envelops all the natural light, so even if there's moonlight, you ain't seeing that shit. You can't see nothing. We were in tents and we heard some shit. Could have been deer, but look, I'm a city boy. You look, you hear shit, you move. You gotta move. It's those who stay put, you get the shit. You get to eat you like taco meat, no matter what it is. So we were hearing things, and just people just fucking bounced. Everybody bounced out of their tents and was running. You can't see shit. You can hear people running into trees. You hear people yelling in pain because they done got a stick stuck in them. Some people ain't have shoes on. It was a really, really horrific scene because I just knew it was werewolves and we gonna fucking die. It's over. So where we had been, we had fished earlier, and the lake surrounds this little middle part where there's land. Now, don't ask me why I don't think werewolves could cross water, because they could simply cross the water and eat me like taco meat. But where we were, I could hear my friends screaming and yelling. True fear. We didn't know what was happening. It could have been a school of deer running through the woods. It didn't matter. At that point, the branches were snapping. Things sounded big. I could have swore I heard growling. That could have just been in my head. But I dove into that freezing ass water, crawled across that part to that lake, to that little piece of land, and I huddled myself in a ball, freezing until the sun rose. I could hear my friends yelling for help. I can hear them yelling for people to come and help them. I left them to die. I'm sorry to say it. Look, shit went down. We ain't have a plan. Y'all went in different directions in the dark. If you would have stuck with me, we could have been all on a little stretch of land. Now, the crazy part is I didn't sleep, because you could still hear shit in the woods and branches breaking and all kind of crazy shit. And then you add human beings yelling in the woods, which makes it even more terrifying, because you hear people yelling like, oh, come on, man, come help me. And I'm just like, oh shit, he's dying. He's dying. I can't do nothing. And then I was like, I'm next. Like, they're going to find me. But I figure if I be quiet and I'm in the middle of the lake, like on this little stretch of land, I should be okay. Not really, because he could just come into the water and take me out, which is crazy, because I still have fears when I play the quarry. There's a whole thing with the water and they can't cross water and stuff that it reaffirmed me that I did the right thing. But I'm just going to say, Andrew, Jake, Tom, and Dana, I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all watch my videos and you're going to remember this. I'm sorry for the petrifying moment in your life, which probably followed you for the rest of your life. But remember, when the sun rose, we all came back together again. We left that day. We all came back together again. But yeah, there was some sore angers with a lot of people, because look, I left y'all for dead, but y'all ain't trying to fucking come and kill me either. Like, yeah, y'all ain't come to help me. Like, I just wanted y'all to get eaten and they get full and then they bounce and then I can leave the next day. Somebody got to live to tell the tale. Y'all don't know. I could have been the one on the water sitting on that little strip of land. They came and ate me and y'all got away. But I just happened to look, I had a plan. Y'all didn't. So I'm sorry. It's been like 20 years, but sorry guys. That was the last camping trip I ever went on with people. I decided to go by myself a lot of times because people are scary as people. Anyway, back to American Werewolf in London. The two guys backpacking, they hear stuff behind them. Everything is nice. There's really nothing leading to the fact that they're going to be torn apart like taco meat. They make it to a bar called the Slaughtered Lamb. They walk in the bar and it's one of those places that you feel like you don't belong because they make you feel like you don't belong. So they're there until nightfall. And let me tell you something. Walking around country roads in the moors in a foreign land that you've never been in before, never a good idea. Don't care if it's werewolves, don't care if it's lambs, don't care if it's a bull that's loose or a horse or a mountain goat that's going to goat you with the horns. I don't care. It ain't a good idea to go traveling by yourself at night in a country on land that you ain't never been on. So it turns out all the people were afraid and drinking there because they know there's a werewolf and they know it comes out at this time. And they know the two people they just sent out, they told them keep to the road to stay clear of the moors, that they're going to be eating like taco meat. They knew it was going to happen because they argue amongst themselves once they leave, like, we should have helped them. We should have stayed here. Yeah, y'all could have did it, but y'all didn't. Y'all fucked up for that. But I'm also messed up for leaving my peoples in the woods at night. I could hear them screaming and crying. They was probably hurt. Some people had like really bad cuts and stuff from like the branches they ran through at night. Anyway, so as they're walking on working on the road, they lose track of walking on the road because they're singing songs and being dumbasses. And they find out, hey, we're on the moors. So as they're walking on the moors, they start to hear something. And like I said, your mind plays tricks on you in the dark. At least they had moonlight and you could see. But the mind's playing tricks on them. But it wasn't. It was for real. So as they're running to get away from the sound, they realize the sound is now in front of them. So it circled them as they were running. And as they're running, one of the friends steps his foot in a prairie hole and falls down. And then they pick him up, but they're still laughing. Like, at what point do you realize you're in danger? Like, no laughing, no joking, you're in danger. This is my only defense is why I left my friends. Look, I was in my tent too. When they took off and left, they left me. They left me. I ain't staying in the tent. Like, I ain't staying in the tent. If you watch Blair Witch, that'll teach you that. You don't stay in the tent. Especially when you hear shit going down around you. Now, I did know from daylight till night that if I run straight from where the opening of my tent is, I'm going to make it to that lake. So I knew at least if I made it to water, I might die, but I knew where that patch of land was. And when you get out into the open where the embankment is, you can see the land. Even at night, you can see it. Because your eyes adapt. But anyways, they're attacked and his best friend is ripped apart in front of him. He takes off and runs. Look, bro, I'm with you 100%. Something jumped out with big teeth and big claws. It's snacking on your friend. You can hear your friend screaming as he's being clawed and bitten, and it's a horrific scene. And he runs away. His mistake was he turned back and went back to go help Jack. I'm sorry, Jack is gone. You going back did exactly fuck all to help your situation. You were more than likely able to run to the road because at this point, when people heard the yelling, you were close enough for them to come out with rifles and guns. So if you had still ran, you might have ran into them before you were attacked and bitten. But no, you turned around and realized, I'm a punk, I'm gonna go back for Jack. And you went back for Jack, and then you got your ass eaten like taco meat. That's where the story starts. He ends up waking up in a hospital. He hears about his friend. The police are questioning him about his friend. He doesn't know what's happening. There's these weird fever dreams where there are Nazi werewolves shooting up his house. I don't know where y'all was going with that, but it was terrifying. I still feel you on that. There's other scenes where he wakes up with these weird eyes and sharp teeth. Still terrifying. Not a werewolf. That doesn't come until he leaves the hospital with the hot nurse, which I'm just going to say, you lucky as hell. Well, you ain't lucky for getting attacked by a werewolf. You lucky you survived it. But the hot nurse taking care of you knows you have no place to stay and decides to take you back home. And you're just like, wow, I'm eternally grateful. No, she wants to bang you. That is straight out of a porno movie. Now, why do I bring that in here? Because there's a part of this movie that I forgot. Every time I watch this movie, no matter how great I think it is, there is a pure part of American Werewolf in London where they go into a porno movie and you see a bunch of dead people that they have the sound cranked to 1,000 on the porn scene on the theater. And if you don't know, if you're watching this amongst mixed company, you're going to have to turn the volume down. Unless you just one of them people that don't care. I'm not one of those people. Every time somebody brings it up, oh, let's watch American Werewolf in London, I got to read the room. If it's people in the room, old people, grandparents, stuff like that, y'all don't remember this scene. But this scene is very long and very audibly enhanced. So in the porn session, you hear a lot of moaning and whining and stuff going on, and he wolfs out in the theater and starts attacking the few people there, which is really messed up because you're there, you're turned on, you probably gonna, you know what I'm saying, investigate your crime scene, you know what I'm saying? And then you get torn apart by a dude who decided to come into a porn theater and turn into a werewolf. Bro, you could have went anywhere. You could have went down a dark alley, a tea house, a coffee hut. Why are you coming to a porn theater where people's inhibitions is look, I just think that's a messed up situation. I don't like it, but I think it's a messed up situation. Anyway, he wolfs out and now it can't be contained. So now the cop comes in, finds him eating guts on somebody. He runs out, he pulls the shutters down, he locks it, and he's just like, there's a wild animal in there. And this is where the stupidity of people, which always seem to surprise me, happens. Instead of running from the sound and howling and snarling and beating on this gate, the people crowd around because they want to see what it is. And the funny part is, that's no different from what will happen today. People pull out their cell phones and try to review it. What's going on? Oh, this is going on. This is going on. TikTok, bro. No. Do you not hear the shit going on? You ounce. But nobody does. So he breaks through the shutter and just starts snacking on people. And then it's chaos. People running for their lives, buses flipping over, cars hitting old ladies in wheelchairs, spin outs, people falling out of things. It is literal pandemonium. Not just from the werewolf who's walking around snapping and jumping on people, but the cars, traffic, everybody panicking. It becomes total chaos. He makes it out to an area. The doctor comes to tell her because he's been investigating, and he figures out even if David is not what he says he is, it's what he thinks he is, and he believes him. Believe people. You have to believe in your friends. You don't have to believe in what they believe, but you do have to believe in your friends. He told you he was a werewolf. He told you he was going to kill people. The doctor, being the doctor, went out investigating and was like, I think he's very sick. I think something's going on. He don't have to know what's going on, but he does. So they end up going down to where they have the creature cornered, and the lovely nurse thinks that love can cure all. She walks down the alleyway to David, and she thinks if she tells him, I love you, everything's going to be all good. It's going to be all wood, all hood, good. You know what I'm saying? No. He is a werewolf. Do you understand? He woke up with no memory of what happened. He told you this. You know this. So seeing him in this state, you think you can trigger something in him? You think your nana was that good that you can trigger something in the beast to stop him from killing? Nah, darling, that ain't happening. And exactly what happens, you think what happened does happen. He lunges at her to kill her, and the cops pow, 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 shoot him. And then you see David on the ground, naked, ass out, and then the credits come up to like a weird song. Like I don't expect it's bob 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 the dig the dog dang dang. I don't get that. Was like off-putting music. But American Werewolf in London is definitely one of the best werewolf movies ever created. The practical effects, the sounds, and like I said, the werewolf howl will haunt you to this day. Now, I'm going to be nice enough in this video to give you an example of what I mean. First of all, let's take a look at what the werewolf looks like. So this is what David looked like in the alleyway when she said she was going to come down there and talk to the beast and maybe help David. This is what he looked like. Is this the face? This is what he looked like. This is what he looked like. Do you see them fucking claws? Do you see them fucking claws? Do you see the fangs? Do you see the eyes? And you think your nana is that good that you gonna talk some sense into that of stopping and kill people. So that's it right there. That's what David looked like.
Did you hear that? I heard that. What was it? Could be a lot of things. Yeah? A coyote. I vote we get back to the slaughtered land. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. We're lost. Oh, shit, David. What is that? I don't know. Come on. It's moving. It's circling us. It's in front of us. You think it's a dog? Oh, shit. What is it? You really scared me, you shithead. You gonna help me up or what?
Now, I don't know how much they're going to let me show of a little bit that you saw, but that is frightening in today's climate in 2025. Now picture going back to the 80s where people had not seen things like that before, and that sound in that scene is in the first 10 minutes of the movie. Yeah. Now you know why it's on the list. I gotta do the next one. Next up on my list has to be on your werewolf list, Dog Soldiers. This is a lesser known film, but let me tell you something. For a lesser known film, probably on a shoestring budget, this is one of the most terrifying and underrated werewolf movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Dog Soldiers doesn't quite tell you what you're in for. This movie, it starts at probably a 0 and it goes to an 8 almost immediately, and then it hits a 10 15 minutes later, and it stays at a 10 for the remainder of the movie. This is probably one of the most amazing, terrifying, and the terrifyingness of this is what the werewolves look like. Let me see if I can show you what one of the werewolves look like in the movie. Yeah, so this is one of the scenes in there. Do you see how it's so tall it literally is hitting the ceiling? And this is the same thing that The Howling had going for it, which really kind of terrified me, because going up against something like this, you really have no recourse of surviving.